It is currently 10:15 at night, but I really felt like filming, especially because my life is so crazy that it is hard to keep on top of making videos. Yes, I am in my pajamas. Yes, they say KW on them. They're my best friend's initials. Long story. I have her pajamas and I wear them. Yes, whatever. Okay, oh my gosh, let's just get into it. Hi guys, it's Tani and welcome back to my channel. I have been receiving so many DMs with just so many people asking like questions about my nursing course, and also questions about why I'm doing nursing and how I kind of fell into it or got into it. I've tried to kind of make as many videos as possible on all the information that you need to know before starting your nursing degree, or information that perhaps may be helpful for when you're doing your nursing degree. But I haven't really spoken about why I have chosen to do nursing and how I have come to be a nursing student. So I kind of just wanted to do a little bit of a story time, like just kind of let you guys know how I have come to be a nursing student. So I am 22 years old, which I don't know, I feel strange saying that's probably a little bit older than a typical student is, because I don't really think that's true. I think in my case though, I've felt really kind of a little bit far behind everyone else in some ways, because a lot of my friends from school went straight into university. So when you finish school here in Australia, you're 18 years old, so you can start going to uni and start studying from age 19, really. I, of course, didn't go straight into studying, which might seem strange because I have actually always wanted to be a nurse. There's not really any other career path that I ever thought of studying at university. As some of you guys will know, I have worked in the cosmetics industry for the last 4 years, and before that I was working in hospitality. I have actually thoroughly enjoyed my experience in cosmetics and I still do enjoy working there, but it actually came a point last year during lockdown where I just went, I want to be out there helping people who are suffering, not even just from COVID, but from anything. I don't even want to say it was a wake-up call to study, because I actually felt like the time I began studying was the perfect time for me in my life. If I take it back a little bit, I was probably about 13 when I started thinking about doing nursing. Being a very empathetic person, I find a lot of joy when I make other people happy. So I think that's why the career choice was always at the top of my list. I actually did so in year 10 in high school, I went on work experience at a local hospital. I was terrified, but I knew it was something that would have been good experience for me and to kind of know whether that was the direction I wanted to go in. So yeah, I pushed myself to go and do this work placement at the hospital. And to be honest, most of my memories are just of having really bad anxiety. However, I remember there was no bad moments in that placement. I actually loved everything that I saw and everything that I was doing. So that was kind of like the first insight I had to becoming a nurse. From there, I kind of went into year 11 and 12 not in the best headspace. So I was battling with really bad mental health problems during that time. I think that period of time actually has kind of shaped me into like what kind of a nurse I want to be now. I don't know if that makes sense at all. So yeah, I kind of had that dream in year 10 of becoming a nurse. However, I will say I was never 100%. I never had that feeling where I went, yep, I'm 100% going to be a nurse. I'm so passionate about this. And to be honest, I think that came down to the mental health problems that I had, because I could never feel satisfied. I was always second guessing and doubting myself. So I don't think I ever had that ability to feel feel like I was making the right decision. I remember that I did apply for university. So I did apply for a lot of different courses because, like I was saying, I never could feel like nursing was the path that I was destined for. So I'd actually applied for, what did I applied for policing. I applied for nursing, community and welfare, so like social services. And I actually applied for a few other things, but I can't even remember. But as you can see, like there's a lot of different career paths that I had applied for, which kind of reinforced that I had no idea what I wanted to do. I ended up actually getting into the community and welfare course. However, as you guys would know, I did not end up going to university. I deferred the course that I got into, although I never actually went and did it. And I decided to work for a year. So I was working casually at a cafe at the time and was offered a full-time position. So I went, you know what, if I'm not 100% on uni, I don't want to waste my money. So I may as well just work. So yeah, I worked for the cafe for a little while. Now, I feel like this was actually a really good job for me to have because I developed a lot of social skills that I didn't have before. I learned to deal with all different types of people and personalities. And I know that seems a little bit far-fetched, like just being a waitress and a barista in a cafe. However, when you're an empathetic person, you really do want to give everyone a good experience no matter what your job or role is. So yeah, I've always taken my customer service roles very serious and I love to make people happy. I honestly feel like that's where I first learned a lot of skills that I needed if I was going to become a nurse. Not long after, I was offered a job in my current role, which is in cosmetics, and I decided to take it. I was kind of over the hospitality industry and I felt like a change. So I started in retail. Yeah, in my cosmetics role, I learnt a lot about people and the struggles that people go through when they're lacking confidence. I think I've stayed in this role for so long. This is the longest job I've had. I've been in this role for 4 years now. I definitely learnt to deal with, again, a range of different people like I did in hospitality. But what it did was make me realize how much I do care about making people happy. It was about March of 2020 when things started to get bad in Australia with coronavirus that I kind of revisited the idea of nursing. Now, mind you, I hadn't really thought much about it in the last ever since I left high school. I had kind of really just enjoyed working. I loved being busy. I loved having routine and I wasn't ready to disrupt that. So in some ways, the pandemic had kind of forced me into thinking about my future a little bit more. I still think that I would be just as happy in my retail role and I was loving working up in the company that I work for. But there was always something kind of niggling at me saying, just see what nursing is about, just give it a go. And I'm so glad that I have. March last year, I had started looking at applying for my Bachelor of Nursing. So I was looking at university enrollments. The funny thing was that all enrollments had just been made. So the year had already started, so I'd missed out on the first intake. So I was looking at mid-year intakes. However, a lot of those didn't end up happening because of the pandemic. I kind of got to a point where I was like, I just want to start. I just want to get into this. So I was looking at plan B. So that's when I started looking into enrolled nursing at TAFE. I'd rung up every university and every TAFE just trying to see. I literally wanted to start tomorrow. I was so ready to get into this. When I looked online, the next intake for TAFE was middle of the year. I think it was the start of June. So I had worked really hard on my application. I had got references together. I think I put in a lot more effort than you typically would for this type of application. I was just so eager to get in. And then when things hadn't really improved with COVID, they actually cancelled the intake. So I was This was when I knew this was really what I wanted to do because I was devastated. I was just so eager to start and I thought this is finally a step in the right direction, and it didn't end up happening. I then had another setback. So in September, that was they were planning on doing another intake. So I had applied at this stage, but I hadn't found out if I had actually gotten into the course. As you can imagine though, they hadn't done an intake since the beginning of the year. So there's all these people that have been applying throughout the year with no intakes. So there was a lot more people than usual. So I hadn't really thought about this. And then when I had an orientation Zoom call with all the information that we needed, I was told that there was, I think, like 150 applicants with only 30 spots, which I just went, great, I'm not getting in again. And that's exactly what happened. I didn't get in. I actually got the email while I was at work and I just looked at it and started crying because I just thought, I have been trying so hard to get into this course and nothing is going my way, until the week after I received another email saying that they were thinking of doing one last intake for the year because there were so many people interested in doing the course. Long story short, finally got into this course, started in November, and yeah, I haven't looked back since. So I'm someone that believes that everything happens for a reason. There's been so many things that have happened in my life where I find it easy to become negative and blame other people until it might be a couple days, a couple weeks, even a couple years later, I can look back and go, wow, I'm so glad that happened to me because it shaped me to react this way or such and such. I was at placement, as most of you guys know, a couple of weeks ago, and placement is very eye-opening. You deal with so many different types of people. I remember being on my lunch break one day and I hadn't had a hard day. I was coping fine, but I'd had some very difficult people that I was dealing with. And I was just sitting there thinking to myself, if I had decided to do nursing when I finished school, I would not have coped with all of this pressure and with all of these different people. I 100% would have dropped out after the first placement. And that's because I just didn't have those people skills or that confidence within myself back then. I would always doubt myself. So I think it's just funny how things seem to work out in the end. So I think just trust in your decision and trust that things will happen when they're supposed to, as long as you never give up on yourself. Like, to sum it up, I wouldn't have been ready to study after I left school. And I think all of the jobs that I've had in the past have actually prepared me to be the best nurse that I possibly can. So yeah, that's kind of my story as to how I have come into being a nursing student. I am loving every minute. I am struggling. Yes, it is difficult. However, I'm so glad I finally made this decision. If you do want to support my channel, giving me a like on this video and especially subscribing really helps me out a lot. So I would really appreciate if you did so, if you have enjoyed this video. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions on what I should film next, please leave them down below. But I will see you guys hopefully very shortly in my next video. Bye guys.